In 2017, in an event attended by leaders of Kuwait's private sector, the government of Kuwait unveiled its vision and plan to transform the country into a financial, cultural, and institutional leader by the year 2035 through 164 strategic development programs. On that day, an inspiring vision was launched, reinforced with an achievable and measurable plan for a new Kuwait. Initiatives that would transform the economy, create jobs, attract foreign direct investments, and facilitate knowledge transfer in the fields of renewable energy, information technology, and the service sector. The Kuwait National Development Plan, branded as New Kuwait, sets the nation's long-term development priorities as it organized around 5 themes and 7 pillars for investment and improvement. Each pillar has a number of strategic programs and projects that are designed to have the most impact on achieving the vision of New Kuwait. Kuwait National Development Plan has several short to medium-term objectives, such as positioning Kuwait as a global hub for the petrochemical industry, increasing direct foreign investment by 300% and attract more than 400 million Kuwaiti dinars to information technology, services, and renewable energy, in addition to developing the country's tourism sector to generate additional revenue. Moreover, the Kuwaiti National Development Plan's 7 strategic pillars and objectives are public administration, economy, infrastructure, living environment, healthcare, human capital, and global positioning. Built into the plan are 20 key global indicators and additional sub-indicators, each tackling and measuring Kuwait's progress with the plan and its performance compared to other countries. Through the development and application of the Kuwaiti vision, Kuwait aims to stand as a leading country in all aspects in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into an exclusive and captivating conversation with Tariq Al-Sharhan, let us take a moment to explore the remarkable journey of today's esteemed guest. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the fascinating world of information technology and the role they play in ensuring the process of digitization here in the state of Kuwait. Now that we have gained insight into Tariq Al-Sharhan's background and professional journey, it's time for an exclusive conversation with our exceptional guest. Tariq, thank you for joining us here today on KTV2.
Thank you very much, Yusuf.
Tariq, let's begin with Kuwait's Vision 2035. Can you tell us more about that?
So it's an ambitious vision that's there to really diversify the economy away from its oil revenues and really make Kuwait this global hub for regional finance, technology, but also quality of life as well. We're seeing also improvements in the vision such as government efficiency and also these various platforms like SAHEL to really increase the usage of the service for the citizen.
Where do you see the future of SAHEL?
So SAHEL was ultimately there to do what? Two things. It was to increase the efficiency of the services, but also to increase the speed in which the citizen engages and gets that service back. So digitizing these services, you have on-demand access to these ministries as a hub. But also you have this kind of open data sharing element where your data is being shared across ministries to give you that on-access, on-demand, real-time service with the ministry.
Let's talk more about digitization.
Yeah.
What is the digitization?
So ultimately it's moving from analog platforms to a digital platform. So for the viewers, analog is purely brick and mortar, so physical, like paper, to a digitized platform. And I believe, digitization is it makes up emerging technologies, right? So these emerging technologies get the job done from A to Z, making that shift from an analog to a digital platform. SAHEL being one of them, digitizing ministry services to a digitized platform.
Is there a difference between digitization and digitalization?
In short, they're used almost like a synonym, interchangeably. So digitization, if we take it as the process, as I said, moving from analog to digital and engaging in the emerging technologies to get you to that point, whether that be AI, big data, analytics, or cloud computing, which is a big one for Kuwait since last year with Google Cloud.
How has your journey helped you in understanding the future of digital transformation?
So ultimately I started my journey I feel like my journey started when I did my master's, and that was in global innovation management. And that really opened my eye to what Kuwait's doing. It was back in 2017, and Kuwait had a big SME hype back then. And what I thought is that these SMEs, once they gain traction, once they set up, they want to become sustainable. How do they become sustainable? They engage in innovation to kind of promote that change. So my journey started at master's and then moved on to PhD, which I'm actually researching Kuwait and the impact of culture on digital adoptions with these brilliant applications like SAHEL and Hawiyati and Kuwait Mobile ID, and how ultimately culture can be the barrier or the enabler to get digital transformation done.
Is there any special project that helped you gain any intellectual?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, definitely, I'm in data collection phase, and I talk with a lot of high-level executives who have dealt with the Kuwait vision or have dealt with the Kuwait vision, especially the SAHEL development as well. And just getting an insight, learning from them, reverse engineering the process and why they created SAHEL, and how it's really contributing to a digitized Kuwait and enhancing government services really was a big learning curve for me.
Are there any concrete efforts that has been made by State of Kuwait to boost the 2035 vision?
Yep, so ultimately we're seeing a lot of innovation in the banking sector with fintech, edutech, and now we have real estate tech. So let me just break down what they are. Now fintech, as I'm sure your viewers know, is financial technologies. And I feel like the payments sector in Kuwait is really propping up the digital transformation side of financial services in Kuwait. Now I'll tell you why. We have so many good homegrown Kuwaiti fintechs that have actually moved across the Khalij. And including now we're having like edutech, which is an online platform for learning since COVID and since the unpredictable weather patterns. Now what do these startups do? They contribute to a diversified economy, which increases our revenues away from oil and ultimately helps us achieve that Kuwait Vision 2035.
So we have seen and we have witnessed the transformation, the digital transformation, not just in the governmental sector, also in the private sector. Are there any other sectors other than the banking sectors that have digitally transformed, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I mean the real estate sector is actually one that's up and coming. I'm seeing a lot of platforms that are actually listing properties across Kuwait, visually, also connecting them with various facilities and so on and so forth. So we're seeing innovation in all different kinds of sectors, and education and real estate is just one of them as well.
Tariq, we're going to take a quick look at this following report and we're going to get back with you with more questions. Ladies and gentlemen, after our exclusive conversation with Tariq Al-Sharhan, and before we resume with today's interview, we now bring you an exciting report on the importance of digitization of Kuwait and how it has gone. The use of online services became increasingly important in recent years as more organizations rely on technology to run things more efficiently. Therefore, the State of Kuwait offers a variety of online services, especially the SAHEL application and other online services. Stay tuned as we explore the transformative impact of these digital platforms in Kuwait's governance.
ushering rapid digital transformation, bolstering security, and implementing the fourth industrial revolution are integral goals within Kuwait's Vision 2035. In an interview, Secretary General for Planning and Development said that the implementation digital transformation would smooth the path for Kuwait to be part of the fourth industrial revolution. He added that the government services in Kuwait would make huge leaps through digital transformation, noting that sustainable development in all aspects would boost the capital of human resources and help future generations. Moreover, sustainable development is not a recent development, where Kuwait has been working on it since establishing the Future Generations Fund in the era of the late Emir Sheikh Jabir Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Sabah in 1979, a step aimed to ensure the prosperity of future generations. Regarding the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, Kuwait was eager to contribute to the 17-point plan, ranging from eradicating poverty worldwide to providing proper health care and more. Kuwait's 2035 vision is in line with the SDGs, as it had taken considerable strides into realizing its own development goals through the involvement of the SCPD. As in for the digital transformation and the fourth industrial revolution, which is integral to the Kuwait Vision 2035, Kuwait placed great effort to transform paper government transactions into digital. For example, the SAHEL government application transformed how government transactions were carried out and is striving to make everything digitized. The SAHEL application is dedicated to the modernization of government transactions, delivering e-government services for a range of departments. The application transforms the government to a citizen experience and marks a strategic achievement in the government's vision for Kuwait 2035, a new Kuwait. Moreover, an official spokesperson for the SAHEL application stated that the Kuwaiti government's goals is to accomplish a full digital transformation, and that has started by bringing all e-government services to SAHEL application, which delivers every kind of official transaction for any individual in Kuwait with just a click.
And we're back with Tariq, moving from the development all the way to the economy. Tariq, can you answer me this? Digital economy. What is the digital economy?
So the digital economy is obviously moving away from the physical economy, that being mainly in Kuwait, it's oil sector and the extraction of oil. Now the digital economy plays a huge role to play in diversifying the economy. Number one, because normally it's digitized, it's not actual physical, tangible. But also because it spreads your eggs in multiple baskets, as they say. Now Kuwait, as I mentioned earlier in the show, is becoming one of the fintech hubs in the Khalij, such as Bahrain and Saudi is. And I just really feel that we should really lean on our payment services sector, fintechs that have come, startups, and really kind of promote this fintech vision towards the youth. Because setting a fintech, we have the resources, we have the learning capabilities, why not set up a fintech to help diversify the economy as a citizen and as a team?
Has AI helped with that?
So AI definitely will help. We've got the Google Cloud project, which was launched last year, nearly a $1 million contract. And this will really help with the data side of the storage, but also help to train the AI that we'll leverage and use for a future Kuwait Vision 2035 in several projects.
As we know, new markets have been unlocked and there is a diversification here in Kuwait. What do you see the future of that?
So ultimately, I think if we stay on this path of, these startups, prosperous startup environment, we can definitely help at least, diversify away from oil. So like I mentioned, there's fintech, there's edutech, there's even food tech, which I'm sure the viewers will know. There's a Kuwaiti startup which is very famous, which has branched out to the GCC. And this is just a seed. This is just a starting point. We have the resources, we have the know-how, and most importantly, we have the capital. Because normally, in Western economies, G20, capital is one of the major issues or barriers to starting up a successful technology business.
Have those startups reached their potential, or are we going to see an increase in those startups?
I think, it's like we have the culture of, we like to, follow the trend, which is also, it can be a good and bad thing. Good thing in the sense that if you see your brother or sister setting up and being successful by setting up a fintech, an edutech, or even a food tech, it will make you think twice as to perhaps, I have the potential and the resources to do that too. So healthy competition comes to mind, which will obviously help diversify the economy away from oil as well.
What are the potential benefits of regional cooperation?
So ultimately, there's the knowledge transfer value driver. I feel like if the GCC countries do, collaborate even further, open up free trade, and perhaps lax, restrictions or regulations, we can help transfer knowledge. We can help build, looking at technology, a stricter cybersecurity framework for the Gulf. And what Saudi's doing is amazing with the open data initiatives. We can ultimately, use that model and open up the citizen services even further through open data sharing, through open banking. So Saudi's a really good success model for Kuwait to follow, I feel, with open data and open government.
How important, in your opinion, is the cybersecurity, and what are the threats out there?
So obviously cybersecurity has been a big one in Kuwait in the news in the last 3 to 4 years, especially in the banking sector with various breaches and backdoor openings for these hackers to get in. But I think ultimately what it's done, it's spread that awareness, that culture of being safe, of using multiple factor authentication, of using OTPs. So ultimately you can see the gold or the silver lining in the cloud. There's been a negative event, but it's changed the culture, it's increased the awareness of cybersecurity and the way we engage with technologies as citizens as well.
Tariq, we're going to take a look at this quick report and get back with more questions. In our quest to explore the remarkable advancements in Kuwait's digital landscape, we turn our attention to the upcoming segment focusing on the digital economy concept and the efforts that the state of Kuwait has been placing to excel in such a field. More follows in the following report.
The digital economy is closely related to the services and industries of information and communication technology, including the movement of intensive use of social media, economic dealing and trade exchange, transmission of huge amounts of data, and innovation among billions of users, who are in fact a marketing and consumer goal for companies. The digital economy has introduced new terms and concepts into trading, so it's possible to establish virtual companies and is no longer strange to do business from behind the comfort of your home. And it has become easy to make deals through emails, and financing has become available through digital banks as well. The United Nations has identified 17 Sustainable Development Goals that focus on the importance of achieving them by 2030. The eighth goal, of which addressed sustainable and inclusive economic growth, would move and create decent jobs for all the world to contribute to improving living standards. Based on the international trend, Kuwait Vision 2035 included that we can call the outline on the digital map through of which Kuwait economy is pushed towards the era of knowledge, digitization, and innovation. In line with global development, starting with the conversion of government services into electronics, through the adoption of many modern technologies and pushing the wheel of progress in various fields of digital commerce. The annual development plan for the year 2023-2024 included an item on developing information and communication infrastructure to transition to digital knowledge economy, where the matter translated into the adoption by many government agencies of some projects related to digital transformation, such as the Central Authority for Information Technology, which is supposed to be processed by the implementation of the National Digital Skills Framework, which aims to design and adopt a national framework for digital skills that will be referred to the current skills gap and to develop and provide the required skills to contribute to achieving the goals of a new Kuwait vision. In summary, Kuwait's transformation into a digital economy is an important and necessary step for the future of younger generations and reducing the burden of public budget, which is linked to the strategic determination to invest in infrastructure and technology and also build a real partnership between the public and private sectors and educational institutions.
Welcome back. We're going to get back to our guest, Tariq Al-Sharhan, and talk more about the Google Cloud and his past. Tariq, we want to know more about you. What made you go into IT? Is that your field?
Yeah, so innovation is my passion, both in academic and also in corporate life. And the reason why I engaged in innovation, actually it was a family thing. My father had an innovation consultancy, or still has an innovation consultancy here in Kuwait, which really deals with the commercialization of inventions. So we have actually a lot of really smart, talented Kuwaitis who have commercialized their inventions in the UK. There's a few medical ones which come to mind. So really it's about tapping into the youth and their potential as Kuwaitis, as smart and able Kuwaitis, to really change the future, whether it be in medicine, whether it be in financial technology. So ultimately I wanted to change the world. I wanted to enhance it. I wanted to improve it in terms of efficiency. And I felt like innovation was a starting point as a catalyst to that change. So that was in a nutshell why I started innovation in academia and also in corporate life as well.
So from my understanding, there's innovation in so many fields.
Yes.
But you chose the IT field.
Yes.
Is there anything specific? I mean, IT 10 years ago is different than what IT is now. And where do you see IT within the next, I'm not going to go so far, a long way, but let's say, where do you see IT in the next 5 years? But before we tap into that, let's talk more about IT 10 years ago.
Yeah, so ultimately 10 years, I mean, in IT is a huge span, right? Because every year IT is changing, especially with the rate that AI is updating itself and innovating. But you say 10 years ago, I'd say there's been huge leaps. I mean, you can think about the data analytics piece, you can think about business intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality. You know, these are just some of the emerging technologies that we have now, we didn't have 10 years ago. So looking future, which is the second part of your question, just imagine that every month we're having innovations, you know, and leaps and bounds. You know, now we have generative AI, where the AI can learn from its past responses and innovate and update itself, now in a human-like tone. So MASH language learning models, you know, like ChatGPTs, like the Google Geminis, are really astounding. And who knows what it has to bring in the next year or two, let alone 5 years.
Maybe in the next week.
Maybe in the next week, as it's constantly updating itself.
I mean, AI just started recently.
Yeah.
Let's
yes.
be quite frankly, to the public speaking.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But it has been moving so fast. Is AI actually teaching itself?
Yep, so
or is human teaching AI?
So it's a blend of both. Now, in the banking sector, I've actually used AI, I've worked with it. We call this intelligence augmentation, IA, where the human uses the AI and actually works hand in hand with the AI. Now, there's an element of training the script, or the back end as we call it. But however, with these leaps in AI, with the Gen AI or generative AI, it does what it says in the name. It's generating itself, teaching itself from past responses. So if you ask it a question 10 times, it gets the answer wrong 10 times, it will learn it the next 10 times. It will keep learning that response and reinforce what it already knows. So that's the generative, human, quite frankly scary part of AI. Now, you know, they're using it in the arts industry, in the music industry, and it's really quite hard to tell what is human content and, you know, AI generated content.
What are people relying on using AI in? Which industry, in your opinion, do you see?
So I really feel like finance in the next 1 to 2 years can really leverage AI to automate jobs. Now, when you say automation, people run and they're scared, and we will lose our jobs. Not necessarily. I always feel like the jobs will be transformed. Now, if you're a typically front-facing, staff, you might be, replaced potentially by an automated system, but you might have to train that system, as I mentioned earlier, from the back end. So the customers are entering in their response, and as you were once a customer facing, you will know the pain points. You will know how to respond. So you will teach the AI from the back end how to optimize its responses. So ultimately, I think there's a world where we can live with AI in harmony and not just be disrupted and ultimately lose a lot of jobs.
Do you think AI is as dangerous as people think?
Look, I feel like there's obviously an ethics question to be had. To use AI ethically, what is that? And I think governments all over the world, especially in the States, late last year, have started to kind of go on that quest of formulating regulations around AI, giving it guardrails. Now, the thing is with guardrails, you can't be too protective over that environment. Otherwise, innovation does not flourish. You're going to limit that innovation. It needs a fairly open environment to organically develop and incrementally innovate. So although that there should be this discussion around ethics and AI, I feel like this discussion is already had in the universities about using AI in your studies and how to use it responsibly, ethically, and maybe to structure your work, not to ask it, to write your essay for you, because there's always some, as they say, gobbledygook, as they say, hallucinations as the AI can do. It doesn't get it right all the time. So I think to live in a world where we live with the humans and AI in harmony is probably the best scenario for this AI-human interaction.
How important was IT 10 years ago, let's say, and what do people think about it? I mean, everyone thinks it's very important nowadays, but how important was it to study or to get into IT 10 to 15 years ago?
Yeah, so if we think back to that time scale, you have like the dot-com booms, the platform innovators, Amazons and the eBays and so on and so forth. So ultimately, this model has carried on, right? So now you're seeing a lot of successful businesses are adopting this platform innovation model where they're aggregating services. They don't have a core service. They have a diversified range of service. For example, Amazon, they started off as a bookstore. Now they have food delivery, they have even their cloud services for IT, they have consultancy. And I think that kind of innovation, platform innovation model is really what works now, aggregating services into a core platform. I think that's the easiest way really to get rich if you got the model.
Is there any advice you would like to give the youth today on the importance of that field?
Yeah, so ultimately technology is leaps and bounds every month, as you mentioned earlier. And I feel like if you upskill yourself now to prepare for the technology of tomorrow, then definitely you can be one of the moving cogs or the key drivers to a successful Kuwait 2035. So I think it's really important for the Kuwaiti market to upskill themselves in IT, upskill themselves in AI, because that's ultimately the future and where a lot of the jobs will be. In data science, artificial intelligence, big data, analytics, because, definitely that is the top 3 jobs, in my opinion at least, in the next 10 years.
Let's talk more about the Google Cloud.
Yes.
What is the Google Cloud offering here in Kuwait?
So ultimately the Google Cloud project is a big project, signed last year, around $1 million approximately in the cost of the contract. And what it's doing is really moving, well, from my understanding, is moving citizens' data from brick and mortar physical servers to a virtualized cloud platform. Now why? Well, why? Because it can be more secure. You can work at scale. You can access data from various parts of the country in high speed. And ultimately, you have a centralized, virtualized platform of citizens' data. If God forbid one day, there was a fire on the server or we had to move our servers elsewhere, it's in the cloud. And off the side of that, more importantly, what it's doing is upskilling and providing jobs for Kuwaitis. To have that sustainable workforce who's operating in IT, who's innovating and transforming Kuwait for a more fruitful, Kuwait Vision 2035. So there's a multi-pronged value driver project, and I'm really excited about it.
So Google Cloud is just, let's say, one of the important projects out there for the future here in the Kuwait.
Yes, just one of them, and off the back of them, I think there'll be certainly more opportunities. And I feel like this is just the start of the foreign direct investment in Kuwait. Khadipa's doing a brilliant job in raising awareness to invest in Kuwait. We have so much potential here. We're geographically situated in the middle of the world. So why not make the world our oyster and really continue to innovate and welcome in that foreign direct investment for jobs for Kuwaitis and to innovate.
Tariq, thank you for joining us. We wish you the best of luck in your future career.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tariq. Folks, as we bring this episode of SAHEL to a close, we sincerely hope that we have offered you an engaging insight into the ongoing digital transformation that's occurring right here in the state of Kuwait, from the cutting-edge electronic services that's provided by government entities to the ambitious objectives that are outlined in the new Kuwait vision. We have explored the remarkable advancements that are shaping the future of this nation. However, our journey does not end here. We invite you to join us again next week for an exciting episode of SAHEL, where we will delve into yet another captivating topic. An upcoming infographic will provide you with a glimpse into the subjects we will be covering and the inspiring stories we will be sharing with you next week. Thank you for joining us, and until we meet again, goodbye.